Guys, you're looking at an image of a planet that is changing very, very rapidly, much faster than we're being told, much faster than even the folks in D.C. with their bread and circuses are showing us. What you're looking at is, of course, the U.S., Canada, and further north. But I've been showing you on a different satellite image this area of the desert Southwest for the last 3 months. And what I was showing you was that it was dry as far as the amount of moisture. It's called the total precipitable water, snow or water, what is in the atmosphere that could hit the ground. And I kept pointing out that it moved all the way up into this area. Look at what's happening. This smoke trail goes all the way down into the northeast across the Great Lakes. Look at this. Air quality is suffering. We've seen it from Canada the last few years, coming from a little further south, down in Alberta, Saskatchewan, in this area. This is much further north, and it's at the tip, guys, of where that aridification zone basically is. Not only that, guys, I'm measuring temperatures around the Arctic ice. What is left? We're not being told the whole story. Our planet is rapidly descending into major problems. Now, let's go back to the other satellite we've been looking at. Now, I've got it set a little different. This is not the air, this is the oceans, and it is sea surface temperature anomaly. Your scale goes from blue up into the black, red, yellow, then white hot, and that is an increase in temperature. I actually have the cursor set right here, but before we get there, I just want to show you something, guys. Arctic ice is melting in a lot of areas. This intrusion point right here into the ice, and there's many more. There's large open areas of ice there that are measuring record-breaking temperatures. Right here in this area, you see the green dot, and if you look over here, this will change as you move it. And I'm right here into an area that is 6.4 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. The normal variance is about a degree or two along this very cold section of the planet. Even in the summer, the sea ice, things like that keep the water cooler. But now here it's 6.4 degrees warmer. Let's just move the cursor up along the edges. This is the physical North Pole right there. But look at this. Here we're looking at 6.2 degrees, guys. And for you, you can switch this. For you guys in Europe, 3.4 degrees K/R Celsius. And it normally is a variance of 1, maximum 2. And what we're looking at is we're looking at 2 degrees above records. 2, I think, is the record for this area. And it's not just here, guys. It's creeping in from every direction. But look at it. Look at Greenland over here, guys. Right there. Look at the waters around it. And we talked about if the Thwaites Glacier down on the other end of the planet collapses, or moves in, you've got a 2-foot rise. If the ice sheets behind it move in because of it's opened that cork, you got a 10-foot rise. But Greenland, and I'm not saying all the ice is going to melt now, but that's a 24-foot rise in global seas. We've seen it before. When the ice caps melted, we're at exactly where you're looking at here, at the Younger Dryas, the oceans rose 400 feet. Now, what's even more alarming to me, that's alarming, but if we come further south, guys, we're looking at, let's look at the Gulf Stream just a moment. It's been broken for a few years, but I always say without tropical systems, the Gulf and the Atlantic will overheat. And we're seeing this heat band from the last few years intensifying, but the Gulf Stream comes here. It used to circle around the entire Gulf. Now it's pretty much broken. But here it's going up along the northeast coast, and then it starts to get much warmer. Check this out. But it's feeding not only from the warm water coming out of the Gulf, which should remain about the same temperature in this area and start cooling off in this part. It's pulling in moisture from here, too. Now, let me show you something, man. This is intense, and it's a record breaker by many degrees. And what you're seeing, guys, right here, this is coming right where the Gulf Stream should be getting very much cooler. We're into this, what normally would be blue area here, but we're looking at a 8.1 degree centigrade above normal. Switch this to Fahrenheit. That's 14.5 degrees above normal and about 5 degrees above the world record for this area. And it's moved all through this area. These are record breakers. All of the yellow areas are at the extreme level, and you may see a few white ones here and there, but our entire planet is being changed, and we're not being told. So when I saw these SSTAs, or sea surface temperature anomalies, guys, I started to dig in and put in the information to see what the records were, where we were at. But the 13.3 degree Fahrenheit or 7.4 centigrade spike is fundamentally different from James Bay, because I had put in, guys, James Bay was in the 20s, not 13 degrees. James Bay was about 24 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. But it was a shallow water baseline when I did that, guys. It was in the earlier data. But in a real world physical event, this is a hyper intense, listen to me, marine heat wave called an MHW, directly colliding with the sharpest dynamic ocean boundary on Earth. Now, that marker that I just showed you in the Gulf Stream, guys, is 200 miles off the Cape Cod, Massachusetts coast. And when you see massive anomalies there, it is usually driven by a couple of different things. We know that it's the El Nino, and we're in solar maximum, and it warms the planet. They can try to weave that into any kind of greenhouse gases they want. That is not the problem at this point. Guys, and if you just scan around this section of the map, I've got this in the southern tip of Lake Michigan now, and the average is, it's 10.3 degrees above average. Check that out. Warm waters there. And guys, we don't have that vast of a difference in the Gulf because it stays pretty warm. But as we get into the Gulf Stream here, we're looking at a 1.5 degree difference. This is a warm bathtub. But as you come out of the Gulf and you go further north, you see a 3.3 here in Fahrenheit above normal for this time. And as you go further north into let me pause the current for a moment. You go further north, you can see the heat increases. Suddenly, we're in the Gulf, again, a 1.1 or something, 5.8, guys, here, up here, 11.2. This should be balancing in with the normal colder ice and water from this area. But at 11.2 degrees above normal, guys, it's melting the ice. It's affecting Greenland all around this area right now. Some satellite images are showing some of these areas 2 years ago had a lot of ice in them, and now they don't. It's clear blue water. What happens when you change white to dark colors? They absorb heat. So it becomes a vicious cycle. The sun's heating the surface. It's warmer. The temperatures now are rising all along the ice fields and the ice sheets. Again, let me kind of tilt this down, guys. Here, we're looking at 5.8 degree Fahrenheit above normal. Look as it creeps into the ice. Here, 6.9 degrees inside the ice sheets, guys, above normal. And what is happening, this puts it in the classification of no ice is there under this temperature. We're looking at open water ocean. Now, again, it goes to the light, dark albedo effect, guys. It's absorbing heat now because it's dark water. It's not white ice reflecting it back into the atmosphere. And waves would be coming into these areas. And this is some of the highest waves on the planet, guys. You ever seen, what does that show, The Most Dangerous Job about the fisherman? These waves in these areas, guys, can get very intense. And as they pound into the ice fields at very high heights, at very powerful wind levels, at high increased temperatures of, in this case, almost 7 degrees, which is above melting, this is above normal, then it's eating away at all the edges. And you can see inside the very centers here, these are warmer areas, if you can see it, guys. I'm not sure how it's showing up. But you're getting here 1.5 degree above Fahrenheit, above average. And we're deep into supposed to be deep into the ice sheets. And it's just, this is not normal. We're not being told the truth. Now you can look at what we're seeing with the world plans, what the governments are doing, what plans they are making, and they have come to the point that they cannot save mankind, and I don't think they care. But so they see a runaway engine as far as our Earth's climate happening right before their eyes. Why do you think they're doing some of the things they're doing? They're not paying. And have you heard any word out of the White House, guys, about the Colorado River and the dams collapsing and all of that in 3 months? I have not. If you guys have, please come into the comments and say, I heard Trump or I heard Rubio or somebody come in and talk about how bad the Colorado River is in shape it's in as far as Lake Mead, Lake Powell, and downstream and upstream. Has anybody addressed that? Do you see the problem? We're being lied to as they fix swimming pools and march people around the wrestling matches and the MMA matches during that fiasco as they played Roman marching songs, just like Rome did. This probably the same songs that Rome did to appease its people. They would throw people into the big Colosseum, kill animals, kill people to keep you away from seeing the war and the truth back in those days. Rome was collapsing. They had to do something different. We're seeing the same thing on this planet, except it is not Rome collapsing. Our planet is in big trouble, guys, and we're about to see big consequences. Now, listen, I opened this with the images of that big fire coming up north of Canada and coming down through the Northeast. You remember that? Now, what that would do, if there were snow in any of this area, it would put a coat of black on it as the smoke settles, the soot and all of that. That's the albedo effect. They've seen it with forest fires before up in the top of the mountains. Instead of the snow coming in, the snow lingering, the black soot would absorb the heat just like a black t-shirt would, just like we're talking about with the dark water. And that melts the ice even quicker. Now, let me change the filters just a moment. We're looking ocean currents and not sea surface temperature anomalies, but sea surface temps. This is very, very telling. Let me pull this up, guys. This is the ice pack. The temperatures indicate the temperature of the ice. But look at this. Look deep into the ice sheets. Look at the edges. These temperatures, and you can see the ocean currents. You don't see that on the ice that much. But these temperatures are indicating there's night ice there. This is the temperature of the open sea. Now, we know we have melting and retrieval during the Arctic summer. I know that. But we do not normally have 12 and 13 degrees above normal temperatures. These currents are eating into this with large waves, large volumes of water, and eating into and under the ice here, just like they are at the Antarctic. We're seeing big changes coming. Now, I want to switch satellites for a minute. This is Copernicus, and it gives us the views we saw a few weeks back at 300 miles over Lake Mead. Now, the zooms change, and as you go down, we're looking at 30 kilometers here, but the sat set at about 300 miles. Now, I went back to 2024, and this is not a daily update. The Copernicus satellite, maybe every week or week and a half, you'll get an image, and so the dates do not line up exactly date to date here. But going back 2 years and looking into June the 14th, this is what we're seeing. Now, I want to come up until, I think it was yesterday or today when I took the other image. Let me show you the difference in this area. Here you got very cold clouds. You've got ice flows here, all along this area and all along this, because even though the temps were starting to rise in 2024, guys, we did not see the escalation that is so rapid that we're seeing now. Let's go up until now. Same area, guys. This was 7/2, July the 2nd. We're a week or so away from 2 years to the date of the difference in the ice in this area. That's an extremely important observation because, again, Greenland is just to the right of this. they are starting to see the same intrusion of warm water into the edges of their ice also. Now, while I was using Copernicus, guys, I did a couple of other comparisons. And you're looking, of course, at Temple Bar Marina at Lake Mead. And I've got this set for May the 24th. See this? And that's right before, that was a week before we saw Lake Mead drop through 1050. Remember that? We said that on June 1st we would be at 1050. That was 6 days before this, or 7 days, 1 week. And this is what it looked like. It was in bad shape. But I want to show you the difference in going up to the closest pass that we have now. Now, you notice we went up to July the 8th. That was the last pass, I think, that we've had of Copernicus. Again, I'll switch these back and forth. Let's say this is a week ago, and then we'll go back to the end of June. That's the end of June. This is a week ago. Big difference. You can tell it on the Temple Bar and Marina live webcam. It's looking from this building. Now, these are grainy, I understand that. This bow you're seeing is that tire barrier that we see. This outlet is closed. This one is for smaller boats only now. Again, we'll do it one more time. Let's go back to May. Look at this. And there were people on the giving live stream views from Lake Mead yesterday, guys, and it really is starting to show a big difference week to week now. Now that again, 24 today. The edge is shrinking very quickly. Now, guys, we've studied the Younger Dryas. We've seen the times when they had to dig the Veres in Turkey, the underground cities, things like that. We're dealing with about 13,000 years ago. And what we are seeing, guys, appears, I may be wrong, appears to be a 13,000-year cycle starting to repeat itself. Again, this situation we're in now is revealing the exact mechanical blueprint for how a massive, abrupt freshwater melt-off triggers a major disruption in global ocean currents. And right now, guys, all the ocean and air currents are out of whack. They're not really lined up in any pattern. They're kind of just drifting aimlessly, and that's where the world is trying. That's when it gets really dangerous. There's no patterns you can predict, and there's no stability. But during the post-glacial warming period, the massive Laurentide ice sheet covering North America began melting rapidly. This created an immense volume of cold, buoyant fresh water that eventually burst through glacial dams like the catastrophic drainage of Lake Agassiz. And guys, of course, we don't have mile-high ice sheets over New York like we did then. But what we're talking about is massive global heating and the sea levels rising. But when they talk about this ice sheet melting, guys, that is what caused the mesas in Arizona and in Utah up through that area, because there were some rocks, but you can see the tall mountains behind the mesas. This was mud flow from that period of time. Now, we're looking at a different situation. We're seeing, instead of giant ice walls collapsing and causing these big mud flows, and that's when they talk about the ancient deluge, even back in Sumerian times, was at this 13,000-year point. This time, maybe not by floods, but by heat. We're going to see ocean heights rise. We went through that yesterday, but the temps are becoming alarming, and it's throwing off all the gears of the machine. It is no longer in balance. When and where it will rebalance, we don't know. But I'm not going to keep you any longer, guys. Some of this is going to go a little bit deeper over into our Sumerian history channel. The reason I'm going to put some info there about it is at the end of the last cycle is when we saw the Great Deluge. We saw Enki whisper through the reed walls that the problem was coming. And we saw that he retreated into the Abzu, and you cannot explain the 250-mile-per-hour underwater craft without looking into history. No man has made it. No mankind that we understand the technology of made it. Those things were made a long time ago. They fly above water and below. Will we see some type of warning like they did in that flood narrative are like the warning Noah got to build the boat. Again, it looks like not by flood. I'm not saying that we won't have rising coastlines, but by fire this time. And the fire and the heat, guys, is causing this engine that we call the planet to completely break down, almost out of control at this point. And guys, we're going to call it the flood because we're seeing the same similarities now that they were seeing then. They had warnings from the Arctic and Antarctic ice caps, guys, that the waves were coming in. And I think that, again, we're looking at a 13,000-year cycle. And I'm going to attempt, as soon as I get time later this afternoon, to finish this flood video for the Sumerian History Channel. Guys, but thank you for watching. Thank you for all your kind comments. Remember, our Father loves you. We love every one of you. It's a major heads up.